Hello and welcome to Masters of the Arts, Sinquefield Effect Edition. I'm Jennifer Shahade and I'm here with St. Louis Chess Club founder Rex Sinquefield, along with my co-commentators, Grandmasters Maurice Ashley and Yasser Seirawan. So we're here to talk a little bit about how this all started. The Sinquefield Effect is all about the 10 years and the resurgence of American chess to here in St. Louis, which Garry Kasparov called the new gravity of the chess world. So can you tell us a little bit about how it all got started, Rex?
The starting story is as remarkable as the incredible and lucky success we've had. I was having a dinner with Susan Barrett, my art consultant, and she brought over an artist from east of the river, south of East St. Louis, and we were to talk about his art and how to get him some support. He decides on his own to bring his uncle, and his uncle brings his friend. And these two people who I've never met, two men in their 70s, one of them 80 at the time, it turns out they were among the powers that be in the St. Louis Chess Club world. And so the topic switched to chess, and I said, we should start a chess club somewhere. We could get into schools and stuff. And these two guys said, great, let's meet tomorrow. And we were looking for places that would make for a good chess club and ideally stay in this area so we could be close to the St. Louis inner city schools. And the current location was about the fourth or fifth place we walked into, and right away we all knew this was it. It was just so obviously perfect.
I remember coming here when invited by Tony Rich to take a look at the chess club in its infancy. And I mean, it was crappy looking.
It was terrible.
It was just looked awful. I was like, this is gonna turn into a club. And he's like, well, envision what we're gonna do. We're gonna have all this fancy stuff and the tables, and we plan to have these great touch screens or screens at least on every floor. And I'm looking and I'm going, okay, that's real cute. That's nice, whatever. Yeah. And then when I saw it later, I was just absolutely amazed by what had happened. I know Yasser can speak to this, but how many years of the U.S. Chess Federation and the U.S. players hoping for consistency in the U.S. Chess Championships? You played in so many, won so many.
Right, that's right.
I imagine you're probably thinking, where was Rex when I was at my peak?
Oh yeah, no, I'm doing backflips for the players because when I played in U.S. Championships, essentially up until the year 2000, it was a nomad. It would just go all over the United States and from place to place, and some places were just not as good as others, and a lot of the top players said, thank you, I'll decline to play. I assume all the players were greatly supportive of
They were very supportive.
From the very first year.
It's another dinner story. I'm
Okay.
having a dinner with a fellow named Randy Bauer, who I had never met, didn't know who he was. You all know who he was.
yeah.
Walk in on the way over, I said, it's kind of a fantasy of mine. I'd really love for us to be able to host a U.S. championship sometime. And he said immediately, well, actually, they're looking for a sponsor. This might work. That's exactly the reaction, Maurice.
We're talking about the U.S. Championship, but it's also the U.S. Women's Championship. It's also the U.S.
Right.
Junior Championship.
Right. Yeah.
This connects everything, right? It's
Right.
not just at the highest level, but at the lower levels, and then you add the scholastic program to it as well. So you have the farm system, you have the youngsters, you have the top players, and I think that's really the magic of it all.
Well, Rex, when we talk about the Sinquefield Effect, we also have to talk about your wife, Dr. Jeannie Sinquefield. And
Right.
she's gotten increasingly involved. We had 10 of the top women players in the world here for the first and strongest American female tournament in history.
Right.
And what was really cool was that we opened that event with a scouting merit badge event, which had the first girls in history to earn that badge. And that ties into Dr. Jeannie's efforts about, 7.5 years ago to introduce the chess merit badge into the
Exactly.
scouts, which
Right.
people have been trying to do for so long.
40 years of
Yeah.
training scouts.
But Jeannie got it done.
Yeah, well, I
A
remember.
phone call. We lived in Los Angeles for 20 years. So we all come back here, and Jeannie was very involved in scouts out there. And one of the 5 people on the National Scout Committee to review and suggest new merit badges worked with her out there. It was a friend of ours. So Jeannie picks up the phone and says, look, I know you're on the National Committee. Why don't you get a merit badge for scouts? Done.
Wow.
So you talk about good luck and how everything just falls into place.
ever since really the opening
Yeah.
of the World Chess Hall of Fame, it seems like Jeannie is just such a huge part of that. And
Yeah.
can you tell us more about that?
He called me and said that the folks in Miami who were taking care of this could no longer do so. This was
Right.
'09, after the crash, the
Right.
crisis. And he said, would you like it in St. Louis? I said, in a nanosecond.
I love it.
And so we sent people down there to look at it, and then we brought it up here, and I was able to get a hold of this building, and this was doctors' offices. And then we brought it to a level that was even beyond our imagination with the amount of art and culture that we have here, art and music. And I keep saying it's supposed to be our version of the salons in Paris in the 1920s, Gertrude Stein, et cetera, where the intellectuals gathered. And of course, its underlying theme is chess.
You set a gold standard, and folks, they're competitive people in chess, as we know, and they're competitive people in organizing chess, and they look and they go, what's that guy doing in St. Louis? We've got to up our game all around the world.
Right.
I think it
I'll
has.
jump in here and I'll tell you a story, Rex. You'll probably like this. I mean, it's very nice. So what happened was you, of course, got the Grandmaster in Residence program going with Ben Feingold. Talk about a good first hire,
Yeah,
right?
right, yeah.
And those lectures have been captured and they've been put up on the YouTube. I went to Baku, Azerbaijan in 2016. And I had all of these team captains coming up to me and saying, you know, those videos I've watched and I've had my charges watched. I'm talking captains from all over the world. Everyone. Because it's free, by the way, which is a very good price.
That's right.
Very good price in the chess world. But I've got to tell you a story here, right here, what we're sitting by with the Sinquefield Cup trophy. So what had happened? It was the Name the Baby contest. Do you
I
remember
know.
the Name
Yes,
the Baby contest?
I remember very well because once again I was ignored.
You had left the strict instructions.
I did.
Said, guys, I don't
Saw how
care.
effective they were.
Yeah, I don't care what you call it. You got to put St. Louis in the title of the tournament. St. Louis Grandmasters down. St. Louis Masters down. Whatever you want to call it, the international, St. Louis International. But it's got to have St. Louis. You left, you came back. We called it the Sinquefield Cup.
I shook my head just like this.
And I got cursed out in Latin. It
And
was
now
brilliant.
the-
I mean, it was just great. I just loved it.
And now the Sinquefield Cup is the crown jewel of the Grand Chess Tour, which is another great project that
Right.
Gary Kasparov came.
Oh, he did so much for us.
Yes.
I get an email from him. He said, would you call me? This is before Karpov was running for head of FIDE.
Right. The
We were
FIDE,
up
the
and
president.
club was going well, very well. And so I called him and I was sweating bullets. This is the Gary Kasparov. He says, hi, Rex, Gary. I said, hey, can you come to New York? I want to have dinner with you. I said, sure, when? He said, the sooner the better. I said, I'll be there.
But you
Nice.
talked about the Grand Chess Tour at that dinner.
We didn't use
You-
that name, but we talked about the concept of having a series of events. And then we also talked about supporting Karpov for his run for
Right,
FIDE.
of course, yes.
Right. And-
But it led to so many great things.
Oh, it did. Well, it led to a close working relationship, you know.
This Sinquefield effect has been 11 years now. It feels like decades because if you measure the impact, it is.
Right.
And I want to thank you guys for being here today to do this Masters of the Arts, and of course, a huge thank you to Rex Sinquefield for making the time.
All of us are.
We agree.
Yes,
We all
indeed.
agree. We
Thanks,
all
Rex.
agree.
Thank you, Rex.
Yeah, baby.